The following contest is a second-round match in the Kings of Consoles tournament to determine the greatest game in the history of the Nintendo Entertainment System. 2 games enter, only one can advance. Introducing first, the 81st seed, a 1990 run-and-gun game from Sunsoft, Journey to Silius. And its opponent, the 17th seed, a 1989 platformer from Tecmo, Ninja Gaiden. Your ringside judges are Pat Dooley and Ricky Giraldo. There's nothing left to say but round 2, fight! Hello and welcome to episode 67 of Kings of Consoles. This is the podcast where we're trying to find the best game for each home video game console by means of giant tournaments. This is the next to last episode of round 2 of our NES tournament. After this episode and next week's, we will be down to our final 32 games, which is pretty amazing. One of the games that will be joining that illustrious list will be either the number 17 seed in our bracket, Ninja Gaiden, or number 81, Journey to Silius. I'm Pat Dooley.
And I'm Ricky Giraldo.
And yeah, this we're almost to the end of our 2-hour sessions with games, which is weird because that's been the norm for 3/4 of a year now.
Been a long time. Yeah,
we have almost reached the point where we have played all of the remaining games the same amount of time, so we can get back to 1 hour at a time and not having to torture ourselves. But more on that later, on what 2 hours of Ninja Gaiden was like. We always start by talking about the underdog, which in this case is the number 81 seed Journey to Silius, which we last saw back in episode 35 when it beat the Tengen version of Tetris. It is a 1990 run-and-gun game from Sunsoft. This was one of our big kind of sleeper hits in round 1, and deservedly so. It holds up in hour 2, at least I thought.
Yeah, this was one of those, like, another one of the hidden gems, I think. It was a lot funner than I thought.
Yeah, agreed. It was like, I remember really liking it the first time we played through it, and I was looking forward to playing it again this time because I remember liking it, but I didn't remember like why I liked it.
Right.
Then start playing it, it's like, oh, this is just like a really fun like run and gun platformer. It's like if Contra was, not that Contra isn't fun, but like if Contra was fun. Like a little more cartoony, but still like cool alien designs, really challenging platforming, but rewarding. Yeah, just a really super fun game.
Yeah, everything you said. I think it did deserve to be on this round for sure.
Yeah, I do wonder how different it would have been if it had been up against the Nintendo version of Tetris instead of the Tengen one, which
I probably would have been here, to be honest.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, that's definitely one that I want to play for our 100th episode as a possible snub. There's I'm making kind of a minor list of like, okay, I want to play the Nintendo Tetris. I want to play like the first Double Dragon because that wasn't on the list. The first couple Lolos because only the third one was on the list. Just to get a handle. There's 2 other Adventure Island games that didn't make the list. Just to kind of see what didn't make the cut. And I feel like they may have picked the wrong Tetris. But
they probably did. They probably just, I mean, let's be honest, Tetris is Tetris anywhere, but
true.
No, that's not true because Tetris Effect was like the best Xbox game for a while there.
That's true, and it was probably the best. Like the Game Boy version of Tetris was better than either of the NES versions of Tetris. So there are varying degrees of Tetris quality. But
that is true.
That notwithstanding, Journey to Silius is still a really good game. Really good music. Like the enemy design is dope. It's really cool. The bosses and even just the standard enemies all have a cool like alien robotic aesthetic to them. I
Yeah.
do think they could have given us a few more health refills during the course of the levels. I will say that was probably the biggest challenge, was trying to keep your health all the way to the end of the level.
How old is this game? Like, when did it come out?
1990. So it is, just for reference, it's the year after Ninja Gaiden came out. It's the year before the Super Nintendo. But 90 was like, that was probably like right about at peak Nintendo, because it launched in 87. Right? 87 in the States.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. 86 in Japan. Yeah, I think that's right. So the console was like, they were starting to think about 16 bits because Super Nintendo came out the next year.
Whew. Well, it didn't feel like one of those old games.
No, agreed. It definitely doesn't feel like a game that came out 4 years before the end of the console generation.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Really good looking game, really fun, really great music.
Yeah.
Some frustrating enemies, but you know, Nintendo hard, right? That's the reason that's the phrase.
Yep. And we played a lot of hard games, man. And I mean, the next game we're talking about,
yeah.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
I do say, and we could just start, right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm pretty sure Ninja Gaiden is the hardest game we've played. Out of all the games, I think. I mean, Battletoads is up there, like we all know. But if we really wanted to, we could probably beat it.
I agree. I think
this one,
the only other, and I'm assuming we're discounting just flat out bad games, because Kicks was way harder than this, but that's just because it was a terrible game.
I mean, yeah, Kicks just wasn't working.
But in terms of games that are worth playing, that are actually fun, the challenge level, I would say the only other game on this level is Ninja Gaiden 2, which we're going to talk about next week, because Ninja Gaiden 2 is really freaking hard. But yeah, this is, I found, I mean, I beat Contra 3 times in the 2 hours, so this was considerably harder than Contra. Definitely harder than any of the Mario games. Yeah, it's probably the hardest game we've played through, I think, 7 weeks.
And it's also because I think we had the most time with this one. Like, I mean, we had the 2 hours.
Could be that 2 hour playtime.
The playtime of Doom, and just see how terrible the
kind of the warts show when you're playing for 2 straight hours. But yeah, I mean, obviously we are talking about Ninja Gaiden, which is a 1989 hack and slash platformer from Tecmo, known in Japan as Legend of the Ninja Dragon Sword, which is an awesome name. A ninja named Ryu Hayabusa travels to America to avenge the murder of his father. Along the way, he learns from a shadowy CIA figure that a mysterious person called the Jackio plans to use 2 statues to release an ancient demon from its temple prison to help him take over the world. The game plays out.
Jackio.
Yeah, Jackio is such a dumb name. The game plays out over 20 levels over the course of 6 acts, primarily consisting of Ryu slashing enemies with his katana or throwing weapons, and very challenging wall-clinging platforming. It was ported to the TurboGrafx 16, which makes me wonder if we should do a season of TurboGrafx 16 games. In 1992, it was remade as part of the Ninja Gaiden trilogy on Super Nintendo. It was available as an unlockable game in the 2004 Xbox Ninja Gaiden game. Came out on the Wii's Virtual Console in 2007, the 3DS in 2012, and the Wii U version of the Virtual Console in 2014. It is available on the NES Classic and on Switch as part of Switch Online. There are 20 other games in the series, including next week's Ninja Gaiden 2, The Dark Sword of Chaos. The game was praised for its anime-style cutscenes, and its extreme difficulty is very polarizing. One-Up called later levels, quote, an unfair display of intentional cheapness. Alex Navarro from GameSpot described the difficulty of the final level as, quote, one of the bottom levels of gaming hell. Screw Attack calls it the 7th hardest NES game. Joystick and GameSpot's readers both listed it as the 10th best NES games in online polls. Game Informer has it 93rd on its best games of all time list. Nintendo Power called it the 89th best game for any Nintendo console. IGN obviously has it at number 17, which is where its seed in our tournament came from. They also listed the opening cutscene at number 53 on their list of top video game moments. And Complex calls that opening the 2nd best cutscene of all time. Retro Gamer also included it on their list of most popular cutscenes as well. So this is an iconic game.
Which cutscene is that? The one with his face? The one with like his eyes? That one?
Yeah, that and the one where like it starts with the 2 ninjas like on opposite ends of a field, and then they like run and jump up, and you just get like a slash, and then the one lands on his feet and the other falls dead.
Oh yeah.
And then there's like the close up on his eyes, and then
it is cool.
It's really cool, especially for the era for 1989. Yeah. It's a really, really cool. And the whole like aesthetic of it is very cool.
That's true. I was gonna say, like, if you're a Xbox, actually, it's not even an Xbox game. It used to be exclusive to Xbox, but Ninja Gaiden Black or Ninja Gaiden, remember those games that was exclusive?
Yeah.
Like, this is the first one. This is the one that started it all.
Yeah.
And yeah, cutscenes are great, but man, why they make it so hard?
So hard. It is really, really hard. So I'm looking at my notes from when I was playing. I did actually have to stop about 35 minutes in because I was playing my original cart of like I own Ninja Gaiden like from when it came out, and I eventually had to stop. I gave up about 36 minutes in because my remember how I was having trouble with that controller and how it would stick? It got to the point where I just couldn't, because so much of the game is like jumping and grabbing onto a wall and then jumping, grabbing onto a wall, jumping back and forth. Because you can't climb walls, you can only jump 2 walls. In 2, you can climb walls, which is a big improvement. But I couldn't jump to the left for some reason. Something about the like A and left combination stuck. So I'd have to mash it over and over again to make jumps to the left. And then I would eventually just die because I would overshoot because I would still be tapping the jump after I had jumped.
I was gonna say, I think it's time to get you a new Nintendo control.
I think it is. Yeah. Actually, I went to I dropped off some toys at a buy sell trade place this week, and I was looking at NES controllers, but they weren't quite in the price range I was hoping for. I have a USB NES controller, but that doesn't work with. I mean, I was hoping for something like $5, and they were like,
oh yeah, no.
So it wasn't bad. I'll just the emulator.
You got rid of some figures. Which ones? The Simpsons?
No, I got rid of. I had a couple of duplicate. I've been collecting all those X-Men figures.
Right.
So I had a couple actually in box still that I traded back, and then I also had a bunch of like the Jax WWF figures that I sold too. It was like in like multi-packs where it would be like, great feuds or tag teams. And like the only way you could get one of the people was to buy that 2-pack, but the other person in the pack already had their own. It was like, I don't need 2 Ahmed Johnsons. I don't need 3 Owen Harts. So.
Well, man.
Back yet to tell me how much they're paying me for them. But so need a new controller. Anyway, long way of saying I had to switch to the emulator partway through. So that impacted how far I made it, certainly, because I had to start the game over. But I still probably wouldn't have beat it, even if I had played the whole time on one game. I did think it was fun that in the flashback we find out that Ryu's dad's name is Ken.
Yeah,
And
that is funny.
a good combination of names. I can't
It's like,
remember.
coincidence here?
Yeah, right. The Capcom was reading that. I was like, oh, Ryu and Ken, interesting. Do you listen to Jay and Miles explain the X-Men?
I do.
Okay. Their running
Great
gag about
podcast.
what's that?
I'm like, great podcast. If you
It
guys
is.
ever want to find out about X-Men, that's one you should definitely check out.
They are very, very in depth. But they have a running gag that when a character in this game named Shinobi showed up, I laughed way more than I would have if it weren't for Jay and Miles. There is a character in X-Men named Shinobi Shaw, just for listeners that may not know. And there's a running gag on Jay and Miles, where based on his like very first comic appearance, they think that Shinobi Shaw doesn't know what sex is, and that all of his evil plans are just trying to get someone to tell him what sex is. So when they did the flashback and talked about the last time Jackie-O was defeated, and it was by somebody named Shinobi, I was like, oh, well, he can do that, but he can't do the sex.
Get Shinobi Shaw, Jesus,
or Shinobi Shaw.
Quite the character.
Yes, indeed. I did make a note because there's a cutscene where Irene, is that her name? The
girl, yeah.
Ryu's lady friend. Like he fights through like screen after screen of ninja enemies, and then he just gets shot by this random woman. Like, oh well, let your guard down there, didn't you, Ryu?
Hey man, we had to jump through a lot of obstacles and
that's just he was blown up, so he just wasn't paying attention.
And rocket launchers. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And the stupid birds.
Yeah. Did we mention this game's hard? Because this game is hard.
It's so hard. This is one of those, I complain about it, I feel like every week, but it's one of those where like enemies will attack you from an angle that you can't attack them back at, so you have to take damage. And the birds are the worst. The worst.
Yeah, because the birds are like, they're kind of random where they don't get you, but sometimes they do get you. And then they come at like different angles and like you're already swinging, but it's the weirdest thing.
Yeah, they swoop at weird angles. It's just real brutal.
You just gotta like get under them.
Yeah, there was a lot of like duck and then really quickly turn around and stab it, or else it's going to catch you on the next pass.
And don't forget
the
about
worst
the
when they start showing up while you're in midair.
That too, or random cheetah.
Yeah, those come from nowhere. Yeah.
But overall, gameplay wise, it's definitely old.
Yeah.
It's definitely I don't know, man. I feel like it's kind of hard because we played, I think, better games.
Oh, 100%.
So it was kind of hard to judge. I'm like, this seems like a lesser Castlevania or a lesser, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and it's also really hard to kind of wrap your head around the fact that this came out in '89. Journey to Silius was 1990, and it looks so much better.
Yeah.
The graphics in Ninja Gaiden are fine, but they're really basic.
Is where the budget really went.
Yes, the cutscenes are fantastic. But the gameplay levels are pretty basic.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, going back to Journey to Silius, wasn't that game supposed to be Terminator?
Yes, I think that's the one that was. Yeah. But they lost the license for some reason and had to create a new. Let me double check that, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was originally based on the 1984 film The Terminator, but licensing rights were lost during development. Graphics and storyline were altered to accommodate the change, which is why the levels all have kind of a post-apocalyptic vibe to them.
It does feel like you're fighting Skynet.
Yeah.
Like, oh man. Well, you want to go how far we made him?
Let's do it. Let's find out who made it farther.
Who made it farther? Who made it farther?
Journey to Silius. I made it. I got a true game over where I had to start the game completely from scratch on level 3.
I don't remember what level. I
So there was
write
like
it down.
A pit where there was like a lot of like really tight platforming, and then there were like robot spiders all over.
Did you beat the helicopter?
I think so.
Hold on. Let me see. Because I made it to like this tank fight. Oh, I think it was stage 2. The ending of stage 2.
Yes, I did beat that.
Level 2.
Where it's like dropping the little like jumpy guys with the like the shell on them. Yes, I did beat that. I was on the next level after that.
Oh, then you got me because I couldn't. I only went up to the tank guy, and I was like, "Oh, well, this guy's owning me."
Heck yeah! Whoa! You know what? Based on my spectacular performance in Contra a couple of weeks ago, we are all tied up.
Oh,
60 to 60.
The LA Clipper kid over here.
Yeah, I just you were hobbled Chris Paul for this one. Just wait till I get Kawhi back.
Right.
But, I'm just bummed that we don't get another round of Suns in 4.
I know that sucks. Guy shouldn't be as big as he is, but it's kind of funny.
It's pretty funny. 2 guys try to beat him, and he beats them, and then his team beats theirs. Good
4-0.
Suns in 4. Okay, so the winner. Oh yeah, Ninja Gaiden. How far did you make it?
Ninja Gaiden, I made it to 3-3.
Oh, I made it to 5-2.
Well, you were on it that week, man.
Apparently, look at that. Yeah, and that's including. I made it to 3-3 with the bad controller, and then had to start over, and then I made it to 5-2. All right,
nice.
I'm pretty happy with that. So the winner between these two is going to go on to face Mega Man 3 in round 3. So here's where it gets tricky. We always ask online to on Facebook and Twitter to have people help us pick a winner. Not great turnout this time. My hunch is most people probably haven't played Journey to Silius, and the people that have played Ninja Gaiden are probably really frustrated with it. So there were just not a ton of votes. And yeah, it's a 50-50 tie. So if we tie, we're going to have to flip a coin to pick a winner. And this is a tough one because like you take Ninja Gaiden's difficulty into account, but it also has just a huge legacy, right? I mean, it's
right.
There's still like Ninja Gaiden is still gaming household name, whatever 32 years later. Journey to Silius doesn't have that long, like the long tail, didn't leave as big a footprint, but
remember, it's not about the legacy. I mean, there's many times where we're like, man, Legend of Zelda should really win this, but man, it almost lost.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. So
yeah, both the Zelda games made it, but just barely.
Barely. So
it's a matter of like, do you reward the historic, or do you push through the game that you had more fun with? Which I think in this case we both agree Journey to Silius is much more fun to play.
Yeah, oh man, that's hard because like we can't vote it off because it's hard. Like,
right.
And I'm really trying, like, yes, we had a better time playing Journey to Silius because this game, Ninja Gaiden, was like, look at me. I'm usually championing these, but I only made it to the third level. I just had a
Yeah,
bad time.
it's
And also because
really hard.
I think the way I played it, it just felt. I think I used my classic, and it wasn't like it was the ported game, not the ported, but you know what I mean. It was the what do you call
Yeah.
it? And I think it was just a little too laggy.
Yeah, that's for a game with that kind of
Yeah, I should have played it like
platforming.
yeah, maybe I should have like tried the Switch version after to
Yeah.
see.
I mean, there were laggy elements even playing the original part when there would be like a lot of enemies on screen.
It was, yeah.
So it's for what it is, Ninja Gaiden is great. It's, it's a really, really good, side-scrolling hack and slash. But what it really comes down to at this point is it a worthy opponent for Mega Man 3 in the next round? Or will Journey to Silius put up a better fight? Which game deserves that spot in the top 32? And for me,
yeah,
I think it's Journey to Silius.
Yeah, Pat, it's Journey. I agree. I think I want to play it more. I want to try to beat the level I am, and I don't. Ninja Gaiden, the cutscenes was great, and the story was pretty interesting. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
but it feels outdated.
Agreed.
It just didn't. I mean, all these games, to be honest, are outdated. But this one doesn't feel.
The newest NES game is 27 years old. So,
but yeah, I think Journey. I think we can have a better fight against Mega Man than this. I think Ninja Gaiden will lose. While Journey, you never know. Maybe we get to that level where we're like, man, we really enjoy it.
It might happen. Yeah. So look at that. Another pretty huge upset. The number 81 moving on past 17. That is, we're going to get into it next week when we talk about, because next week is our last episode of round 2, where we will talk about like the biggest upsets of the tournament. But that one's up.
The big
there.
one. Yeah, it's a big one.
It's there were only, and I was also looking at it, of the 32, or well, there will be 32 after the next episode. So I guess of the 31 matchups we've had, there have only been 9 upsets in this round. For the most part, the higher seeds have been moving on, but man, that number 81 game, like I said, it's like a hidden gem. It's a, Little Samson or a Metal Storm type of, just putting in the work, just pulling off upsets. Took out Tetris and Ninja Gaiden.
It wasn't the Tetris.
No.
You got to say that. We got to say it wasn't the Tetris, but
it was the Ninja Gaiden.
It was the Ninja Gaiden. So this will be one of those we talk about. It's like, hey, remember when Ninja Gaiden lost? And listeners who really love Ninja Gaiden are just throwing their iPhones and their phones like, how dare these guys? I'm telling you, if you played old games, you would know.
That's right.
You would know.
Well, before we wrap things up here, we should answer Ryan O's question of the week, the unofficial third co-host of the show. Ryan O always sends us great stuff. This week he asks, what video games music brings you the most nostalgia? And I'm gonna not say Tecmo, even though we all know that Tecmo is the soundtrack of my life. I don't know, man. There's a ton of NES music that makes me nostalgic and takes me back to childhood. Obviously, the original Super Mario Brothers.
I was gonna say, you can't get more nostalgic than Mario or the Nintendo Classic Zelda.
Yeah.
I always, come on.
I think for me though, just because I feel like that had like the level themes were all great, the boss themes were great, the between level music was great.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think was it Double Dragon that had some views? I think it was like one of the Double Dragons I remember.
I think the first Double Dragon has really good music.
Yeah. But
you
know what's another good one? Castlevania.
Oh
yeah.
Man. Yeah, the Castlevania games all have really great music.
Especially, I mean, the third one.
Mm-hmm.
The classic. So yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I'm gonna go basic with Mario. I mean, you can't. I mean, geez. If a person doesn't know one Mario song, it would be a little weird.
Right.
Like, where have you been?
Well, and so many of the classic Mario themes were there from the beginning. Like the regular, the da-da-da-da-da was like the very first thing you ever heard when you turned on your NES.
Exactly.
And the underground and the water, like they're still using elements of those themes 35 years later. Pretty wild.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Like, we're still listening to that.
Yeah. Those songs are old enough to run for president.
Damn. Now that you put it that way, it's like, wow.
Not just old enough to like drink or rent a car or whatever, but 35 is the age at which you're allowed to run for president, and Super Mario Brothers is 35 in Japan.
That is crazy.
Here, yeah, pretty wild. So we will be back next week with the last episode of round 2, when Ninja Gaiden 2, the Dark Sword of Chaos, tries to avenge Ryu, trying to avenge Ken, as it takes on the last game we haven't played yet out of the list of 100, the number 22 seed Blaster Master. So in the meantime, if you want to head over to challenge.com/Kings of Consoles, you can see the full bracket up to this point. You can send us a little money our way. Send us money our way. That's redundant. You can do that at ko-fi.com/Kings of Consoles. You can watch a stream, twitch.tv/Kings of Consoles. I just tested it out a couple nights ago. I'm using a different program that I think I like better. It's got just kind of more dynamic graphics and stuff, so I'll probably stick with that next time I stream. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Kings of Consoles. Email us, kingsofconsolespod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter. We are at Kings of Consoles. I'm at Loopy Date.
And I'm at Ricky G Ed 7.
Yeah, so Journey to Silius in the final 32. Ninja Gaiden is not. We will see Journey to Silius again soon. I'm working on finalizing the round 3 schedule, and we got a whole lot of Mega Man to get through, so I'm probably going to bump them up early. So since it's against Mega Man 3, we'll probably see it in a couple of months, maybe. Of course, we only have like 3 months worth of games in round 3 because we're down to so few.
I know, man. This is it. We're almost there.
Yeah. It's taken us 16 months to get to this point, and we've only got like 7 left because episode 99 is February 3rd. So we are
so crazy. We're
real close. But yeah, Blaster Master Ninja Gaiden 2 next week. Until then, play old games.
Play old games, everyone.
Kings of Consoles is recorded in Nashville and Orlando and is produced and edited by me, Pat Dooley. Thanks to Captive Portal for our theme song, intro for a non-existent video game, which can be found at freemusicarchive.org. And the music and sound effects from this week's games can be found with a quick Google search. The opinions expressed in this and every episode are our own, and we are in no way sponsored by or affiliated with Nintendo. We're just big fans.